This episode of the Eclecticide podcast is brought to you by Ruth 4:7 Western Boots. The biblical scripture, Ruth 4:7, reads, "Now this was the manner in former time in Israel concerning redeeming and concerning changing. For to confirm all things, a man plucked off his shoe and gave it to his neighbor, and this was the testimony in Israel." So these guys at Ruth 4:7 are making some fantastic handmade Western boots. They can do custom decals and logos that you want printed on the boots. They have some fantastic Masonic logos and emblems and just normal Western boots. You can catch them at facebook.com, Ruth47. I'll also attach the link at the bottom of this page. Shit yeah, dude man. This episode of the Eclecticide podcast was awesome. So I reached out to a person that I wasn't sure was going to get on. I'm sure everyone's seen the photos, but we ended up with Randall Reader at my house in my little office recording this podcast. Randall Reader, you may know him from Deadpool as Buck. He was in Deadpool 2. He was in 21 Jump Street. He was in Leaves of Grass with Edward Norton. He was in Sin City. He's been in so many movies. He's been around the industry for so long. He was a professional wrestler. The dude's been around doing what he's doing since basically 1989. The guy fought Chuck Norris several times in Walker, Texas Ranger, all right? So the fact that he was willing to come and sit down with us and just have a great time is fantastic. I couldn't have asked for a better situation. I wasn't sure how this was going to go. I thought maybe he would sit down for about 20 minutes, 15, 20 minutes, and just do like a cold, hard interview, and we would just kind of do it that way. And it ended up just being the most candid, fantastic conversation with a true gentle giant. I mean, the dude's 6'7", and you see the photos. The dude just filled up the room, not only with his giant stature, but with his fantastic stories and his just overall demeanor. Couldn't be a nicer guy. Couldn't ask for better. So here it is, the interview with Randall Reader.
Shut up and sit down.
We got Randall Reader, man. And, again, thank you for coming. And I'm sure you got a busy schedule. So,
yeah, man. It's
just doing it.
I had to, I got a busy schedule. I do.
Right. Well, like you were saying, you've been over to the house before.
Right.
Before it was my father-in-law's house. And
yeah.
I bought it. He moved off, so I was like, all right, well, I'm going to jump on this for you. So it was nice for my grandkids, or, his grandkids and stuff to be in the house. So it's good that you knew where you were at. But
yeah, it sucked, pulling up, not seeing that copperhead sitting in the driveway. I love that truck.
That car's nasty, dude.
It's so sick.
That thing's nasty.
It's one of the sickest rats I've ever seen.
Dude, that thing...
If it's not even really a rat, though. I don't even know what you call that.
Dude, at Autorama last year, it won Best Truck overall.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So,
it's just a show truck.
Well,
so.
Tim always makes a joke that he never got Hot Wheels when he was a kid.
Yeah, so he made a Hot Wheel.
So he made one. I mean,
you fill the people in on what this is? Do your listeners know what this truck is?
No,
dude,
not
fill
yet.
them in. I mean, it's crazy.
This thing is a rat rod that me and my father-in-law. Well, my father-in-law decided to build. I helped him out a little bit, and the whole family kind of got in on it. But it's an old '39 Ford body on a 1986 Corvette frame. Yeah. So you got fully independent suspension. You got disc brakes all the way around. The thing's nasty. And then he put a 383 stroker in it. The thing's like, I don't know, something asinine. It's like $650 at the wheel.
Man. It's a beast.
I mean, that thing it's so loud too, though. I mean, it's like,
but it's kind of like a retro rod rat.
Yeah,
like a ratty retro rod or something. I mean, it's like nothing I've ever seen. I mean, I said there's things out there. Not like that one. Dude, it's sick. It's one of the sickest rats I've ever seen.
It's cool.
Rods I've ever seen.
It's awesome to drive because people are like, holy shit, what is this? But the problem with it, though, is the whole time you're driving, you feel like you're breaking it because it's so low. I think the clearance is about 2 inches.
Right.
So when you're driving through the streets, you're just constantly crack, crack, and you're shaving the city titties off the middle of the road, man. You're just like, oh my God, I'm breaking this damn thing apart. But so you've always had like a thing with cars, right?
My first car was a 1950 Merc, actually. Wow. So with a big block Pontiac 400 in it, had the moon hubcaps, the whole thing. It was really, it's probably my second or third car, but the first one I had that I drove, I had a 67 fastback it was my dad and I were going to build me a bracket car, back in the day, but street legal. And right. I outgrew it. Somebody wanted it worse than we. They made an offer, and then my dad had found this guy who had this 50 Merc, and he's like, "You need something big anyway, boy. You're getting too damn big for a little Mustang." Right. So, man,
those cars. But back then, like the 50s, the 60s, even the 70s, it's like the 80s cars went to shit.
Oh,
but
well,
I mean, now you have a love for them, like some people do. Like Fox body Mustangs and things like that. Those old G bodies. But like when you think about it, like my first car was a 1994 S10.
Yeah.
Now, granted, it was the inline six, the 5-speed manual. It was cool. I put glass packs on it, because you got to at least
inline six. What the V6?
No,
wow.
as the inline six was pretty sweet. I liked it, but now I got the 76 C20 out there now. But Tim, my father-in-law, pulled the motor out of it, so he's got the 454 that went in it. That thing's cherry. It's got 64,000 miles on it. But I got a 350 in the garage that's gonna go in. That'll be my daily. So, but
dropped the 454 in a rat.
Last
time I saw you were in some old 30.
That was
something. I don't even know what it was.
That was crazy. A buddy of ours, Rat Rod, dude. That thing, the thing that sucked about that. Well, he's not going to listen to the podcast, dude. Yeah. That guy, he's a car guy.
Hey,
but
if he doesn't like it, he can get his own podcast.
Exactly.
Right?
He's a car guy, but not like a car guy. He owns a company, so he buys.
Right.
And he pays to have things done. We've gone over there and worked on his cars before.
Yeah.
But as opposed to Tim's Rat Rod, I mean, what was 6 months of labor, but that thing was so nuts. He put me in the car.
Tim's is not quite a rat.
No.
Because, I mean, with Rat Rod, I want to see, welded up, panels in the door where somebody,
Well, there's no body work on it. It's just a cab with a flatbed.
Exactly.
I mean, I think the whole car is maybe 11 feet long.
Yeah.
But
so short
that Rat Rod you saw me driving, dude, the seats weren't even buckled down.
Yeah.
So, and it had no speedometer. Yeah. So I'm driving through LaPorte over that hill.
Oh yeah.
And they had that flasher. Yeah, dude, I was like.
Now you know how fast you're going.
Yeah, I was like 67 miles an hour. I was like, oh sweet Lord, I'm gonna get so much trouble right now.
Right.
Man, but that I think that was I guess that was the first day I met y'all. Actually, you and Wayne.
It was.
So Wayne is that's your buddy.
Wayne's my buddy, man. Wayne's my buddy. He's my pal.
Right. And I was about to say
we actually Wayne and I go back. We started pro wrestling back in the same time. I was about ready for my first match when he started class. So I mean, we're talking months apart, and started here in Houston. So started pro wrestling here, and I went through another school that kind of went south with a guy named Ivan Pudsky, and then ended up over at this guy named Tugboat Taylor had a pro wrestling organization, and he polished me up, kind of got me ready for TV or ready for wrestling, and I was blessed because I'm just so big and gnarly looking or whatever. I don't know. I mean, it wasn't gnarly looking then. I was just a big old goof, but because I'm so big and everything, I started wrestling, TV and stuff really early. But I was about that. I was further along than Wayne, and he came in there, and he ended up partnering with a guy named Jeff Gretler. And so it was Wayne Knight, Jeff Gretler, and they had a really cool tag team over the years. They were just really great workers. And then we ended up. Jeff was long gone to up north or something. Got married, Nothing kills a career like a marriage, right?
Right.
And and then Wayne, we ended up, he and I kind of, in the same dressing room at Shawn Michaels down in San Antonio, which was like kind of a farm league for WWE. And we ended up buddying up. We'd ride to the shows together. Then I was in a tag team. I don't know if he was. I don't think he was singles, but he was tagging a lot with another guy. And then my tag team busted up, and Sean just threw us together. We were like the last survivors of the old dudes, like grooming his kids. So it was just like the coach and us, and everybody else was young kids, like 18-year-old, 22-year-olds.
So you were 18, 19 when you got
No, I was like 20. I was probably like, 28, 29.
Because it's like on your Wikipedia, it says like at the time that you were like essentially transporting horses.
Oh yeah, that's when I was like 17.
Yeah, from Kentucky and such.
Yeah.
And then you kind of fell into it from there. Like
I did.
So, did you watch wrestling growing up, or was it just?
I watched it with my my grandfather here in LaPorte, Texas. We had a plumbing company growing up. That's where I worked in the summer, and so I would stay with my grandparents in the summertime almost every summer. Actually, every summer I think. And my grandfather and I would watch, Paul Bosch wrestling and everything, here at the Sam Houston Coliseum. I think that's it. And we'd watch that on Friday night, and then I think or maybe Saturday night, and then Sunday morning. I don't know exactly, but it was Friday night that they would do the shows, and then they would film it, air it a couple of times, and I watched that, and when I had the opportunity, I was like. Yeah, I'll give that a try.
Right. Now, when they're looking at that, yes, there's an athleticism to it. I'm not going to knock that at all. But the storyline is what drives it, So
absolutely.
Are they looking for someone who has more of a propensity for acting or more of a propensity for the athletic side?
I think it would need to be someone that is would play the fool. Because you go out there and do stupid stuff. You make yourself look stupid. You lose the little guys that you could beat up. You lose the big guys that you could beat up. But it's really, I think, mainly you have to be able to withstand a huge amount of pain, and you have to be able to be athletic and accurate. To almost hurt someone but not hurt someone. And it's a show. It's a sport. I mean, used to when I broke in, we couldn't talk about this stuff.
Right.
We had to hold it all. Keep it all secret. But now, I mean, Vince has like kind of exposed everything. And,
I think
I
think the true a lot of the true fans. I have cousins that just like love WWE. So they just don't seem to care. Like for them, it's just the mystique. Anyway,
I mean, chicks don't care if the Kardashians is real either.
No,
right?
I always joke with my buddies. Like my cousin is the hardest one to express this to with wrestling. Yeah. Like I give him shit for it all the time. Like I'll be like, dude, this is so fake. He's like, you don't know, James, shut up. And I'm like, dude, if this is real, they need to get that shit on point and lock up those goddamn microphones because every motherfucker's running there. Oh my god, the Undertaker's here. And how did he get it? Oh, they had his theme song queued up too.
Yeah,
Chase,
exactly.
That's nuts.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's not that I dislike it.
It's a show, man. It's a show. It is. And the show must go on. It's an amazing show. It's soap operas for adults. Yeah. It's great. It's dude oriented, obviously, mainly because it's soap operas that we can tolerate.
Right.
And then, but it's also it's athletic. I mean, I've worked with several, and I'm not going to mention them, but I've worked with several NFL players that wanted to be wrestlers, and some successfully made it. I had a tag team partner that was, was really great, and a good friend of mine, Tony Norris, was an NFL player. But I've worked with others that came in and they said, "Screw this!
Right,
this is way harder than football. Like at least with football, you got a season."
Yeah.
And you get to take a break. And this is ridiculous.
Well, in football, you're getting hit. You're wearing padding, though. It's like when you're out there, you're getting hit with a chair.
Yeah.
There's not a way to fake getting hit with a chair.
That's when people go, how do y'all fake the chairs? Like, yeah, you don't.
There's a way to
You don't.
hit.
I mean, you don't kill someone. I mean,
right.
I've had friends that got their head split ear to ear with a chair intentionally.
Right.
I've had friends that's been cut open unintentionally by chairs.
Yeah.
And I mean, but chairs hurt, period. End of story. It's a steel chair. It's a folding chair, just like you sit at a church function or whatever. We turn it the right way, to where we're not going to cut the guy open. Try to hit the flattest spot. I mean, whatever. I mean, I'm not considered to give away secrets and somebody get pissed off at me. But I mean, it's there's an art to it, man. It's an art. I mean, it's of making it look real, but it's definitely not like. It's like getting slammed on a mattress. Like for one, take a mattress and throw it on the floor and because I did this before I went to my first class. I'm like, threw a mattress on the floor, and I like just had somebody slam me. I thought I was gonna die and go to the hospital. I mean, it's like you have to relax, you have to exhale. I mean, it's an art, man. It's a tango, bro. And that's the cool thing about a wrestler. Like, I could get in tomorrow and I'd blow up in like 45 seconds because I'm out of shape. But basically, knock a few rust off and I could tango with somebody else that's a worker. I mean, it'd be like I would know his moves. It's like, okay, this is happening. Oh, okay, this is happening, and you go with it. It's like a tango, man.
Right. Well,
between
thing is,
two dudes.
I mean, y'all
it's a dude tango, man.
Well, I mean, y'all go to school for this stuff. Y'all go to classes to teach all that. Like, how is like this extreme like backyard wrestling and stuff like preceding that? Like,
it was horrible. I mean, it's trash wrestling, but I mean, now it's just it made its way in.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like being an actor and saying, "What do you think about reality shows?" It's horrible.
Well, I mean, a lot of that's
horrible.
Acting, though, too,
it's
man.
horrible. Right. It's destroyed everything. But. Trash, I mean, backyard wrestling and all that stuff. I mean, I know guys that have started as backyard wrestling and ended up being wrestlers. I mean, hell, look at a lot of the guys in ECW that, crawl to the top, that way. But, I mean, it was always frowned upon. And the worst part of it is I made it, like, say, 10 years as a pro wrestler. I made it 7.5 years with never going to the hospital. 8 years, maybe even longer. Never went to the hospital, Right. And then the last few years, I mean, I literally shrunk an inch in 2 years. Wow. Like, I went from 6'8" to 6'7" in 2 years. It's just, because, then you're going through tables and everything is crazy and amped up at that time, in the late 90s with ECW and all that stuff. So. Right.
And then the time that you're doing the wrestling, you're also going through acting classes in Dallas, right?
Yeah. I started. I tried to be The Rock before The Rock was The Rock.
Well,
I got into wrestling to be an actor.
Yeah, you quoted Jesse Ventura in Predator.
Yeah, when I saw him, I was just like, wait, he was a wrestler. He's doing these movies with Schwarzenegger and mowing down Forrest with miniguns and stuff. I'm like, I should check this out.
That's the game I want to play.
So yeah, and back then, like Hogan, a few of them, were branching out. Vince didn't like it. Like nobody, WWE didn't get to do that kind of stuff. If you were signed, but eventually it gave way and he caved in. I mean, I think. Dave Bautista, I was in a movie with him, his first movie, I believe, and with Rob Van Dam and a couple guys, but and some rappers and all that stuff. But Dave, I think it was his first movie, and he quit. I don't know. I believe he quit WWE to do movies,
right?
Because they still didn't want him to, to do it. Probably because Vince is like, you can do my movies because I got WWE studios, or whatever,
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a different thing, man. It's entertainment for sure. It's a roughest form of entertainment, probably other than stunts.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like you're saying, it's a grueling schedule. It's this, that, and the other. Now, you had a desire to act. Had you done any acting before that?
Well, if you look at my first resume,
Yeah.
I made up all kinds of stuff.
Right.
My book's going to be called "Fake It Till You Make It: The Randall Reader Story."
Dude, how do you think I got here?
But no, not really. In fact, I don't think I'd really done anything. I was an Elvis impersonator to my family, and
right.
A class clown a little bit, but hell, I was probably not even. I was probably too shy to be really a class clown, Mm-hmm. But it just I wanted to do it. I thought it would be cool. I was like, well, let's say I'm big and awkward. I might as well make some money off of it.
Right. So, not that plumbing's a bad thing, but I'm sure you're like.
Hey, it didn't suck to have to know that I could. I plumbed my way into the business because I'd moved to L.A. on $2,000 or $3,000 I saved up, either working for my family or working for like James's Plumbing here in Deer Park or Pasadena. You know, I would just like stash a bunch of cash and then just leave, and I'd come back when I was out of money. You know,
it's always good to have something. You know, like not a backup, because I hate to call it that. Like, I don't like people saying like that. It's just something that
because I've started burning my ships to where there is no backup.
Right.
Because that's the thing. If there's a backup, you'll always go to it. So,
yeah, exactly. I mean,
but at the same time, I mean, you know, I could tell my son. We got 3 kids, but my son makes music, and he's really talented. And he was just, you know, I was asking me, man, how do you do this? Like, how do you do it and stay in the game? I'm like, first you have to assume that I actually made it and successfully, so you could ask me that. But you know, for a second, man, I mean, it's hard, dude. You don't. I mean, you kind of screw up constantly, and he was like, well, at least you had plumbing. I wish I would have learned a trade, you know. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, it wouldn't be a bad thing to learn a trade, you know.
I say that to everyone, and it sounds off, because when I was growing up, you know, like my dad went to college, my mom went to college, and his dad went to college, and I went to college, but it wasn't until I moved into a trade. Right. I'm a land surveyor, that I was like, man, I kind of wasted some time. And you know, like your son's talking about doing music. Like, I did music for a while, and I tried that, and I made some money, and I did my thing, but when it was all over, like, I had nothing. I was like, okay, cool, I'm managing a tuxedo department at a men's warehouse now. This blows. Like, I'm like, holy crap. I found out, I'm like, I don't like people. I like people wanting to kiss my ass. I don't want to kiss your ass. And so when I got into this trade thing where I'm like, dude, I have to deal with like one other person, and I'm the boss. Right. Like, it was fantastic. But
what do you do?
I'm a land surveyor.
Oh, yeah, nice.
So, I mean, I work for a company, you know, but I'm a party chief. So I get my stuff at the beginning of the day, and I go. I'm in a truck, you know. I'm out in the field, and it's great. But you know, the whole thing is like with anything you're going to do, you just kind of have to be all in, you know. And obviously, you know that. I mean, you made that jump into wrestling, and then it was like, well, okay, I'm gonna keep moving forward. So you move to acting, and you know, you just got to be willing to understand that it's not going to happen overnight. No. And, you know, you're going to take your lumps, and someone's going to tell you that you suck.
Let's say that. Occasionally it happens overnight, and then everybody wants to go do it because, look, you know, this girl went to move to Hollywood, and she was in Deadpool. You know, it's like third movie or second, you know, something like that. And, you know, that happens. But it's not that's winning the lottery, man. That's a fluke.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that, and I think, you know, a lot of stuff, at least in the industries and stuff that I run, and like even this, man, it's just willing to be like, how much money you want to throw at shit. Yeah. Like, if you're willing to, like, at least as far as podcasting and everything I'm falling into now, if I'm willing to pay for marketing, if I'm willing to pay for this, like, I can get however many downloads the thing, and I'm like, but am I really gonna feel good about that? Like, I had to pay for that, dude. Like, I mean, I'm sitting at 45, 50 listens off 2 episodes, but those are organic. Like, I'm putting in the legwork. I feel pretty good about that. You know, it's just kind of like, you know, with your wrestling, like, you.
Well, now that you got me on there, it's going to be like 47.
Dude, I'm down with that. Like, 2 more, man. I'm fine with that. You know? I mean,
I'm the worst social media guy in the world. I should have now thousands, if not millions, of followers, and I just suck.
You would think that, but that first band that I interviewed, Creeping Death, I couldn't even get him to share my podcast. I'm like, dude, it's an interview with you about your debut album.
Oh, so you're saying I'm not the worst?
No.
We'll see if I share yours or not.
That's true. It was more of like a hint. Like, you know, if you share it, you won't be the worst, but we don't know. You know, it's just kind of weird how things
Why wouldn't they? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why they wouldn't. I mean, because we're not talking. I mean, you know, they're not huge stars. I mean, not at all. Creeping Death. I mean, it's cool. I mean, I'm sure they're. I listen to the podcast, by the way. You know, it's cool and everything. But yeah, they should totally be pumping it, man.
Well, it's not just for me; it's for them. You know, you want that exposure.
What I'm saying. I mean, for them, that's what they want.
I mean, most of these things I'm sharing 2-3 times a day on different platforms and everything else. I mean, that goes back to you gotta fake it till you make it. And you gotta put in the work.
You gotta work it, man.
And I mean, that's obviously got you kind of here. You know. I mean, you took the classes, you did all this stuff. So, did the classes help not only with acting, but with the wrestling as well? Did it help? Like,
man, the acting classes actually helped me with life.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like going into therapy, which I'd never been in, but it's amazing because I tell people, they go, man, why are it's like, oh, actors, they're such bad people, or they're whatever. I don't know. They bitch about actors being selfish or self-involved and all that. It's like, one, nobody goes into this business if you're not broken to start with.
Right.
Like, you need adoration or your mama's love or your daddy's love or something. I mean, something wrong with you if you got it's like comedians. The most messed up people I know in the world are stand-up comedians. I did stand-up for like a year or so. I'm like, man, I'm way not messed up enough to do this. This is crazy. Y'all are sick, because they're, who goes up and makes people laugh at themselves? Well, actors, in order to be someone else, you have to explore yourself to such a level to be any good at it. I mean, anybody can be an actor,
Yeah.
You can't, not anybody can be a good one. And the good actors, man, I mean, they literally, it's just self-exploration. So, I mean, the classes, they helped me be an actor. It helped me be vulnerable enough to be able to be someone else and to not judge that someone. And there's all kinds of stuff I've picked up over the years, but it also helped me to be a better person, by really understanding, wow, I suck, or I'm this, or I'm that, not that I used it until, I was in my 40s anyway, because I just kept on sucking, but, I was just like, yeah, I'm just an asshole no matter what, and then finally I was like, I don't know, man, maybe I should, use some of this wisdom I've learned, so that helped. It helped with classes. Acting classes helped me. Is where I got my agent the first time, where I started work, so I could get someone to represent me and put me out there. So then I got a Walker, Texas Ranger and all that stuff, which, by the way, I won the lottery because I'm a big dude. There was nobody like me when I started, and there's still probably only 20 of me in the business. I probably know 15 of them. We call ourselves the usual suspects in Hollywood. I'm talking about in Hollywood, there's only a handful of people I audition against. So, that's pretty awesome. That being said, I'm never going to work as much as Christopher Walken or whoever that's done like hundreds and hundreds of movies, because it's just, and I'm not going to have these huge roles necessarily unless I go out there and plow that ground and make them myself, like my own TV shows and my own movies.
But one thing that you got to do that Christopher Walken didn't do was you got to fight Chuck Norris.
Well, yeah. Absolutely. That's it. Walken, I don't know what to tell you.
That's it, brother.
It's like I fought Chuck Norris multiple times, like 6 times. I was just with a South African guy that we're doing a documentary on, and as a missionary, has a ministry down there and a hunting ranch that funds the ministry. It's fascinating. That's a whole other topic.
That sounds awesome.
But he was just like, I can't believe you worked with Chuck Norris. Like, it's like, yeah, like, and he's like, "You really worked with Chuck Norris?" Yeah, it's like I'm friends with his sons. I'm friends with him, like his brother. Like they know me. I've had 6 fights with him on TV, or I don't know how many fights, but a bunch, like several fights per episode. With Chuck Norris, and yeah, that's freaking cool, dude. That was my dream come true already. It's like I've been, to my growing up in Texas, I've been in Walker, Texas Ranger. A bunch of King of the Hills. Yeah. Where do I go from there?
Right.
I can work with Anthony Hopkins, and people would be like, "Who was that British guy you was working with?"
Right.
With the accent, But
everyone's gonna know Walker, man.
Yeah.
Well, you've worked Chuck Norris. I had forgotten about some Edward Norton in Leaves of Grass,
dude.
And that movie.
That's the stuff that people people go. It's like, oh, dude, you were great in this, or you're great in that. Even Deadpool and all this stuff where they go, oh, you were great in that. It's like, yeah, thanks, man. But yeah, man, I've been directed by Oliver Stone, opposite Josh Brolin. I've been opposite Edward Norton and Tim Blake Nelson,
and holding your own though.
Oh,
too.
yeah,
it's not an awkward. It's not like when you act a lot.
Yeah.
I'm gonna sound shitty. I did some in high school, so when there's just that one person that is not necessarily on par, and you get that scene together, and they're just getting fucking pummeled.
Yeah, no, it's great. I'm so blessed. I'm lucky and blessed and happy, but I always worked real hard for it. And I mean, I get called back. I work with producers 5 times. You know, that just call me, and you know, my agent will be like, so you just got a call for a movie, and they just want you. They said they want Randall, and they cleared you for dates. You know, because you know they know that I can hold my own. I mean, against Edward Norton, or up against Edward Norton. I mean, that was one of the, you know, I mean, that's one of the greatest things that ever happened to me is I'm working opposite, you know, Edward Norton. It was crazy.
Well, it's good too.
You know, being directed by Tim Blake Nelson, who's just an amazing talent himself. So,
right. Yeah, I just like seeing. I mean, because of your size, because you're always going to play like a brooding character, you know. But to see like the goofy side, 21 Jump Street and all stuff, but to see Leaves of Grass and actually see like for like I guess a more dramatic portrayal, it's good to see that. And it's one of those things that I'm like I see that and I'm like well shit, like the thing that I mean, does it bug you at all that, I mean, do you think that you would get other roles if you weren't 6'7"?
We're about to find out, because I've dropped 70 pounds in the last year, and I'm dropping another 70, and it's possible that in another few weeks I'll lose the beard.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And that's what everybody's like, dude, your beard's awesome. It's like, and now it's so much people just like, dude, your beard. And it's like, yeah, I'm more than a beard, dude. Yeah. I feel like a chick with big tits. You know, it's like, what's up? I mean, you know. So yeah, I mean, I may change my look completely and see what happens. You know, the cool thing is I don't really care. Like, I mean, I do. Like, trust me, I love what I do. But I'm not so invested in being, you know, this character. You know, that I'm just like, yeah, let me do something else. Let me see what's up. You know. Let me see if I can do. Let me go. Let me change it up some.
It's not like it's like.
I mean, I'm still going to be a big bearded dude with tattoos, but you know, I might. You know, who knows?
But those characters didn't ever like eat you up. Like some people, it does. Like you talk about comedians, like Andrew Dice Clay.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
The Clay Man, the Dice Man. It was a character.
Yeah.
And it ate up his entire act. Now he is that guy.
Yeah.
You're not. Yeah. You know, you're not offering everybody to eat a cock meat sandwich every 10 minutes. I mean, well, I don't know. Are you?
No. But, you know, I've known actors that would. It's so funny. Occasionally, you run across a guy and he's just like, "Yeah, I'm so and so. I'm da 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 da," and he'll run off his resume to people, and it's like because they don't really necessarily recognize him, and he wants them to. And me, I'm just like, man, when I go out, I'll wear sleeves. Like, you know, a lot of times, if I just like want to just roll, I'll put a hat and sleeves on, and nobody will even recognize me. I mean, sometimes people will, even with because a lot of people wear. You got a long beard now. I mean, everybody's got long beards, so I can kind of blend in a little bit more. Now the tattoos, they're just like, if I'm rolling out sleeveless, they're just like, okay, oh, that's him, you know. So, but yeah, you know, I mean, it didn't eat me up. I'm ready for a change. Yeah. You know, and, you know, I mean, I've got a young wife. I mean, not like crazy young, like I'm not Muslim or something, or you know, Islamist, not Muslim, Islamist or something where, but, you know, my wife's in her early 30s and not my first wife, obviously. And then, you know, and my daughter, who's a lot younger than my wife, by the way, she's making me a grandfather. Oh, awesome. So, you know, I want to live longer. I want to be healthier and all that kind of stuff. So drop some weight, change everything up, see what happens, you know.
Right. I mean, you're changing a whole bunch of stuff. Speaking of, like, you're kind of trying to change the some perceptions about like Hollywood in a way, you know, just go ahead and call a spade a spade.
You mean with Red State Entertainment?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, fly my flag, bro.
I was reading the info. You sent me the website last night, and I was reading. I was like, you know, that's the thing. I knew something was up because I was looking at your IMDb, and I saw the stuff for Sons of Thunder, and I saw that's coming up on PureFlix.
PureFlix, right?
And I was like, well, that's like the Christian Netflix. Yeah. And you've done another release on there as well?
Yeah, I did a PureFlix thing. It's funny. I was right here in Deer Park, and Wayne and I were writing some crappy horror show or something. I don't know. We were writing something. We written like, I think we got 11 properties together. Me, him, and Jeff together. But we were writing something, probably not crappy because we don't write anything crappy. Of course not. We're sitting there and somebody had told us, a producer, like a guy at Millennium Films that I know. We had a meeting. He said, "Man, you ought to do faith-based, man. Like that. Them guys just made a bunch of movies. That Little Giants movie, that Facing the Giants. You know, and they made like millions of dollars for this $1 million, this like $50,000 investment.
Right.
I was like, yeah, then God's Not Dead came out, and I was like, whoa, and, I think those guys, the Kendrick brothers kept producing stuff, and all these movies are starting to hit, and I was like, wow, man, there really is a product here, and I'm a Christian, man. Check at this.
There you go.
His praise is tattooed on the inside of my lips, like, you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I'm a believer. I'm a peculiar believer that, still drinks a little bourbon occasionally, and cusses people who cut me off in traffic, but Lord forgives me. Yeah. And anyway, but yeah, man, I wanted to we watched this movie, and it was the Machine Gun Preacher. Mm-hmm. And I was kind of teary-eyed, probably had sriracha in my eye or something, but right. Wayne's like, dude, I've never seen you act like that, tear up or anything on the movie. I was like, man, that's the movie I told my pastor I wanted to make 10 years ago. And he says, that story? Like, I said, I didn't know that story existed, but I told him I wanted to make R-rated Christian movies.
Right.
And I don't want to preach to the choir. And I said, we should get in this faith base. It might take 5 or 10 movies, but then we could start making R-rated Christian movies. Like if we start doing the God's Not Dead and then creep on in. And then once we get to a point where they trust us, we go, hey, we're going to do something a little different. It's going to be crazy. You're going to be offended, but come watch it because we're going to preach to the world. And so anyway, I said, look, we need to meet those Pure Flix people. And then I'd never auditioned in my 20-something years for a Christian anything. And all of a sudden, I get a call for to audition for a Pure Flix thing, and it was David White. It was his show, and it was their first sitcom that they'd ever done. And I ended up looking like a little recurring role, possible recurring, and by the first time we filmed, they said, hey, we want to keep you all season. Like, we want to they renegotiated my contract and made me a series regular, and they just started writing stuff for me. So that was amazing because I won it, even though I didn't make the money I wanted to make because it's faith-based, but if it had been, a TBS or CBS or anything like that, I'd been making 50,000 an episode, but instead I was barely getting by. But you know what? I mean, it was awesome. And, David asked me if I wanted to do a TV show. He knows what I want to do, that I want to push the envelope and be a little edgy.
Right.
And he said, you want to develop a TV show? And I said, yeah. And we did Sons of Thunder, which is, pretty cool, man. It's like, I don't know how much time we got, but,
well, like I said, I got all the time.
Hey, man, ain't no rules. Ain't no rules.
Not at all.
Yeah, man, Sons of Thunder, we, basically I wanted to do a modern day, like a kind of my version of Kung Fu from a Christian standpoint.
Okay.
I don't know if you know the series Kung Fu back in the 70s, but so instead of Caine, we have, archetypes. It's not like I ripped off Kung Fu, so don't be coming and suing me. But, just that kind of archetype of just this guy, that's roaming from town to town and helping people. Hell, A-Teams did it. There's, anybody could have, say I ripped that off. But yeah, basically we, so we got our guy Simon is a combat veteran and came back kind of disenfranchised, did too many tours and didn't really fit in with society. Ended up with joining a 1% motorcycle club that doesn't exist. We made it up, but I can't believe it didn't exist because it's the Devil's Hand MC.
Right. And
that's who we came up with. My boy Scott, right here, and I don't know. My boy Scott drives the little drop caddy. You probably seen him, man. Scott Irby.
Oh yeah.
But right, he was in the Herdsman. Mm-hmm. Like he was one of the founders of the Herdsman motorcycle club. But anyway, yeah, he came up with that for me. I said, man, I need a motorcycle club that hasn't been come up with some kind of devil and evil and all that stuff. He came up with that. I'm like, dude, that can't. That has to exist. He said, dude, I'm telling you, it doesn't. So yeah, we did the Devil's Hand MC, and then this guy Simon gets hold of a Bible and starts reading it, and it starts driving a wedge between him and his brothers, and ends up getting in a fight with the Sergeant at Arms, being a bad out, where he walks away from the club without the blessing, and they're looking for him. So he's kind of like the emperor is looking for Cain, that kind of feel. And so he's always looking over his shoulder, and but he's got this mission. He kind of wants to return this Bible to this guy, and so he's on this mission. But everywhere he breaks down or stops to run out of gas, makes a little money or whatever, he ends up, God has this situation that he needs to help him, that he needs to help him with, and it's often violent, because why wouldn't it be?
Right.
And so that's Sons of Thunder, man. It's really cool.
I mean, they're keeping it so under wraps. Like, you go on IMDb and it's just like plot, nothing, and I was like, okay. And I remember hearing something about it, and then you mentioned it last night, and I was like, oh shit, okay, like we can talk about it.
Oh yeah, we can talk about it. There's not, we don't have any trailers or anything out yet. It's just about totally delivered, like it's almost finished. We're color correcting things like that, and then it should be out. Knock on wood. It is supposed to be out before Thanksgiving. That way we can capitalize on both holidays. Where people can just marathon it, because it'll release all at once, just like Netflix. So it'll be like 1 through 7, whole season.
Right.
It's half season, whole season, whatever you call it anymore. But so that's what they'll release it, and I'll come do your show and tell all like 60,000 of your listeners by then that they they'll be able to go to pureflix.com and enter a code and get a 1 month free trial, and then they can watch Sons of Thunder, and we'll get a season 2 because of it.
Was that going to affect your body style and lifestyle change? If if you're doing season 1, you'll get picked up for a second season. I mean, you're going to kind of need the beard and.
No, man, because it could be like a year later. It could be 3 months later,
That's
6
true.
months later. I mean, we ended it. It wouldn't be a problem to carry on with that. Flashbacks might be a problem, like we wouldn't really go back to the club anymore.
Right.
Maybe because, let's put on a fat suit and did makeup or something. I don't know.
Right,
whatever,
which would kind of be funny, but I think it would pull away from
cool.
the story.
I mean, honestly, we'll probably touched on the club enough as flashbacks, because that's really, in the flashbacks, every episode pretty much has flashbacks, and so that kind of tells where he was, and then we'll probably go into the like his military history or something in season 2 anyway, and then bring the maybe he finds the club later, maybe they find him later again, but it won't really matter at that point, because you've already established the club.
So you're playing Simon, you're playing the main character, the lead role. Is your production company producing it as well, or
we produced it, created it, everything. I mean, technically we're producing it for PureFlix,
right?
But I mean, we produced it, and a couple of production companies, just like anything.
Right. Are they? Is PureFlix kind of pretty easy to work with? They're like, okay, like y'all, we can do this. Or
I mean, I mean, it's always challenging because they're a network basically, so we have to work with their rules and all that kind of stuff. But I mean, they sent their representative came out and helped me finish it, because ended up having had some people that started with our project didn't finish our project, and so ended up their representative or partner in their kind of their production company part side of it, Anna Zielinski, she came out and helped us finish it, and so it's really good. Actually, they've been amazing, because I had a stroke in February.
Whoa.
I had a blood clot in my brain, and they had to go in and grab it and all this kind of crazy stuff, and so I was down. I mean, I had 3 weeks of rehab or something, and it was a while. So it postponed. Like, I should have turned in originally we were going to turn in the whole season in like April 1st or something, and it postponed it months because of all of this. So now we're turning in, and I think it's going to work out good, because we're going to hit that holiday. I think it's going to be better for us. Who knows? Maybe summer would have been great, but it wasn't. It doesn't matter, because that's what happened. I can't. I didn't choose to have a stroke then. It just happened, and they've been really great with me. I mean, they're friends of mine. So it was you know, it's friendly. I mean, it's business, but it's been good to work. It's been good working with them.
Had no idea you had a stroke.
Yeah, it's insane, man. Second stroke I've had. I had one in '06 that was totally unrelated. I tore an artery in my head. Probably the doctors all, and Cedars-Sinai is the best doctors in the world probably, and they attribute it to too many chair shots to the skull, head traumas and stuff. And then this one, I think it was a shot that I was getting that has the side effect of could cause blood clots, and it's I was getting them every 6 months or something just to be able to walk. It's like take down my massive steroid shots IV from a doctor. I mean it wasn't like anabolic steroids. It's for inflammation and arthritis and all that stuff. And I think that probably caused the clot. But I mean, it's just the way it is. If you want to walk, you get, if you take certain drugs. I mean, look at all the Xantics or whatever. It's like may cause rectal bleeding and that's like, lack of eyesight. And,
that's like all the anxiety and depression medications are like may cause
thoughts of suicide
and violent diarrhea. If I have violent diarrhea, I don't want to be around people.
Yeah, and then of course they want to commit suicide if they have violent diarrhea
around people.
It's crazy.
Well, there's like 3 things that I'm so scared to death. It's not, I can't control death anyway, but 3 things I really don't like Bell's palsy. I don't just want to wake up and have a limp face.
Yeah.
Stroke. The other one's aneurysm because I tend to worry, and I read an article one time they're saying it's like it's like 9 people out of every 70 have just an aneurysm. You know what I mean? Like you just have it, and it can be as simple as you get on a plane, cabin pressure, pop, and you're dead. And there's not a way, man.
No, man, it's and I've had 2 of those, or one of those twice. One of your fears twice, because I've had 2 strokes. It's nuts, and who knows how many strokes? I don't know, but many strokes and things like that, But yeah, the 2 events that were events wound up in the hospital, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it was crazy.
Well, at least you got all buttoned up for now. And we're able to make
for
the
now,
show.
man. But you know what? It's awesome because I mean it's one of those. Wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy necessarily.
Right.
Well, maybe I would. Worst enemy, but Lord forgive me for that one. But no, I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy, but I wish everyone could experience what I've experienced because I mean. Coming that close to death and really lining up what's important in your life and all that kind of stuff, it's a pretty sobering thing that happens when you're just like, oh wow. I mean, I remember just this last time, my first night away from the hospital, I had to go to sleep, and I was like, oh wow, I've never used this machine. I was using like a CPAP machine, and they think that might have attributed to it that I had bad sleep apnea, and I was just like, and I was freaking out. I was like, no, I can't get the thing set. I don't want to go to sleep like this, and I mean, I wasn't totally spazzing, but I was like, wow, this is creepy. When I went to sleep, I'm like, Lord, if it's now, I hope I'm okay. It's like. It's wild, man.
It's just it's weird how quick some things like that should put shit in perspective.
Yeah.
Like you think that you have everything in line, and it's cliche, to say the least. You're always like, oh well, yeah, no, it's family and this. You always see the movie, the dude gets hit by a car, he wakes up from the coma, and he's I just want to be around my family. But until you actually fall into that, and you actually are coming out of it, and you're like, no, dude, I just want to. If people have kids, you just have a compulsion, to be like, I just want to hug my babies, right now, and just Jesus, I want to calm it down.
Yeah, it's nuts.
That's crazy, but
it's nuts.
I mean, hopefully, you come out the other side and just make the best of it, and just keep on pushing.
Yeah.
So I mean, kind of like Simon in the show. I mean,
it is.
And hopefully, that's some stuff that people would get from the show.
Yeah.
I'm sure they will because the little snippet I got a taste of. It looks so good, man.
Oh yeah.
I was worried too. Like a lot of times you see those smaller in quotation productions that you don't get all the grandiose.
Dude, we shot on 2 Aries. I mean, we're talking. We shot on the best equipment with the best operators, the best. I mean, we had the best of the best. I called in every favor. When Purefix came down, they're like, hey, they really want to know what they want to know what's the model. How can you do this for this price? And I was like, well, and she's like, oh, I already called them, so there's no way you can do this for this price. I mean, I called in. I had $30,000 worth of equipment for like $5,000 a week or something, $6,000 a week. And I was like, my DP, I was like, he's a Costa Rican guy that lives here. I did a movie with him. I did the Dave Bautista movie with him. His first time I met him. And I was like, Hermano, how did you get this stuff so cheap? I mean, I don't even know. There's no way. We don't have that kind of money to have all this equipment. He goes, oh, he's my friend. I did some, I have to post a lot of social media with the cameras. And I was like, basically he whored himself out for my show, And I mean, dude, I couldn't have done this. This was crazy. I don't think I could have finished the series without the help from a friend of mine that now is a super good friend of mine that is, the president of the Banditos, or the battleground chapter of the Banditos. Like literally we shot at Nitro Cycles. Oh, yeah. And he shut down. I mean, he was so good to us, man. He's just my boy now for life, my homie for life, And it's favors, man. It's relationships. That's what life's about, man. Totally.
Your buddy Cecil Abshire just texted me. He's like, "Hey, tell me."
No way. That's someone than a buddy. That's like that's my cuz kind of. Like he's cuz, at least ex-cuz. What do you call it, cuz? Like he was. So he's my first wife's cousin. But man, I mean, I don't know. I damn near spent more time with Cecil than my first wife. I mean, we've worked together and all kinds of stuff for years. Yeah.
Oh man, yeah. He goes to our church actually. Yeah. So that's how I met him. And like, I posted a picture whenever we first met, and
he's a metalhead.
Yeah, he was like, "Why do you know Randall?" I was like, "Oh, I don't really know him, but yeah, no, he's an interesting cat, man. He's just like, I've never met someone so obsessed with Weird Al."
Oh yeah, he loves Weird Al. Does he still have did he ever cut his mullet off, or is it still long?
No,
mullet?
He's just got short dad hair.
Oh, no. Dude, did you know him when he had he had a mullet, like, but his hair was to his belt line forever. And I was just like, really, dude? Like, it was hilarious. I mean, he kept that long mullet forever. He's so funny.
He's a goofy cat.
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna make him listen, so that'll be one more download that I can count on.
Yeah, absolutely. But listen to it twice, Cecil.
So with after Sons of Thunder, I mean, obviously you're still like, I know that you've done the writing stuff. You did For Whom
He Tolls.
Yeah, For Whom He Tolls. And you've written some other stuff.
I didn't really write it. I mean, I'm a writer on it, on For Whom He Tolls. Mm-hmm. But really, Jeff and Wayne wrote that one, and I directed it. But I was, I would read they would send stuff, and I'd be like, oh, here, about this suggestion. Or mostly it was like, most of my stuff never made it in. It's like, hey, we need a pool scene because, the actress is pretty hot, and they're like, no, dude, no, we're not doing that. I'm like, all right, whatever. So stuff like that. But it's I mean, they really wrote it. I wrote on it, and so I got a writer's credit, but that I maybe deserve, maybe don't. But I got to give them the props on that one. It was a great movie too. It was a weird thing, man. We were shopping it around. I was showing it to people in Hollywood. I had a friend that was kind of mentoring me. He had a distribution company forever. Like, was it? I'll think of it in a minute. But anyway, and he, I took it to him. He loved it, and he says, "Man, 2 weeks to 2 months ago, I don't remember." He said, "I could have gave you X amount of dollars for this, and which would have been way more than we spent, and we would have been in the black, and it would have went on to make a bunch of money." But Blockbuster shut down all the Blockbusters shut down 2 weeks, 3 weeks before this. It was just crazy. Like, we're in this turmoil of all there was Netflix and cable, and nobody knew what streaming was going to make, if you're going to make any money on it. In fact, streaming just really started making money. So It was this no man's land for a while, and that's where For Whom He Tolls fell. It just bad timing, man. So
it happens.
Yeah.
So what's next after? I mean, Sons of Thunder. Obviously, you're kind of hoping a second season would be awesome.
Yeah,
that'd be great. What do you have in the works?
Man, I'm writing this movie about a podcaster, and no, just joking.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we have another. Actually, it might be the thing that started the writing kick for us. We have a movie, a feature film that Jeff Gretler wrote the original. He wrote the whole draft, the first draft, and maybe the second, I don't know, but third or whatever. But he wrote this film and sent it to me based on it had nothing to do with the character I played, but he saw me in ER. I did a guest star in ER.
Kobayashi.
And Kobayashi, yeah. And I was a drunk guy who, when I was drunk, thought I was a samurai soldier or samurai warrior. So he wrote this thing called The Baptist, and it was just an indie film, kind of a Coen Brothers-y kind of quirky characters film. Really cool, and I loved it, and everybody that ever read it loved it. And so then and he said, "Man, you're winning an Oscar for this. This is your movie. This is amazing. It's going to be great." Everybody that ever read it loved it. This has to get made. And this was years ago, man. Well, we started writing other stuff. Well, let's write a horror film, or let's write something that we can afford to write. I mean, that we afford to shoot, and then we'll keep this. So the first thing that we ever had was, the first property we had was The Baptist, and so we're doing The Baptist. Like I'm raising money for it right now because we did the Sons of Thunder. It's really kickstarted that project. That's so good. It's funny because stuff just sits. You'll have a project, sit there for 10 years sometimes, and you can't do anything with it because you don't want to waste it. You don't want to just burn it. Like burn it on a little $100,000 budget, and it's never anybody's gonna see it. And that one, we just saved it. And now I think it's going to go big, man. I've got a producer, Eric Brenner, who produced Crazy Heart and a bunch of movies. And, I mean, yeah, it's really, like, we're going for it,
It's
man.
crazy, like, how many big-ass movies. Jake is the movie guy. But how many big blockbusters and stuff like that directors and writers have sat on for so long.
Yeah.
Like, when you actually look at, like, how long, like, James Cameron sat on Avatar.
Yeah.
Because he was just like, technology's just not up.
Look at Deadpool. Like Ryan and Rob.
Dude, he had that.
All those guys,
so
like
many
the
times.
writers, they were like 5-6 years trying to get it through the hoop.
Well, that was
forever trying to get that thing through the hoop.
I'm a DC Comics guy since the Batman and stuff.
I don't hold it against you,
but Deadpool's my Marvel guy. But I was so mad that Ryan Reynolds was able to get that.
Like, that's funny. You're a DC guy?
Yeah, man.
I mean, I'm not a Marvel. I'm not either one. Like necessarily, I'm a Marvel fan, obviously, and I actually do like Marvel a lot better. I don't like any of the DC stuff.
I like it. This is my explanation.
Until you hire me, and then I'm a DC guy. By the way,
exactly. Hey, man, there's some characters you would work great for.
Yeah.
But see, the whole thing with DC is that, like, I guess it comes back to, like, being, like we were talking about, a broken person at the beginning. Like, you can be a superhero in DC. You don't have to have all these things. These people are born, like, as a circumstance. Marvel, you have mutants. They're born that way. It's a thing. Yeah. Or they're given a serum. Or
so you're like more like the Batman, where he's just like he's a.
I mean, if
I didn't really know. Is that the difference? DC has a lot of more just people.
Mostly, I mean, it's like a lot of because DC was Detective Comics. You need to take that?
I got a call. Can you stop it?
Yeah, I got to pee anyway.
Yeah.
There we are.
All right, sorry, man. I had West Coast is on a different time, and I had a conference call that was supposed to happen. So,
my bad.
No, my bad. They'll be like, they're like, hey, what's up with the call? I'm like, yeah, what call? I remember that call, but I don't know about that call, so let's do it tomorrow.
Oh well, important people have important things.
Oh, well, I don't know about that, but
But what we were talking about, DC versus Marvel. But yeah, the thing is, there's like Marvel. Ryan Reynolds had the glout enough to get them to do a fucking rated R comic book movie,
right?
And the thing is that Marvel doesn't have a whole lot of those rated R stories. Deadpool's rated R because he's that way.
Yeah, I mean now they're started. I guess they pushed. They started pushing like. Wolverine and stuff like that.
But if DC wanted to knock him out of the water, they need to stop trying to push towards the child audience, the younger audience.
Yeah.
I mean, Frank Miller, you were in Sin City.
Yeah.
He wrote a Batman story.
Yeah.
He's written 3 of them.
Right.
So I'm like, just cut the crap and do it. They had the opportunity with Birds of Prey with Margot Robbie. I said, if you want to get, not that my opinion matters, this is my thought process. You want to knock Marvel down a little bit, do Birds of Prey, give it the rated R rating.
Oh, they didn't do rated R?
No. And if you do
Really?
it, give people what they
Because
want.
that
Margot
girl's
Robbie will
like-
do nude scenes.
Well-
People want to see Harley Quinn naked. And,
Well, I mean, I'm sure someone wants to, not
Right.
me.
no, not at all. But someone somewhere wants to.
Dude, yeah, that's she's the hottest thing ever,
It's there.
and definitely the hottest, like comic book chick ever.
Oh yeah, that's
So-
my daughter's middle name is Quinn, because we like the character. It's just such a
awesome.
That character has such a weird dynamic. But
Yeah, what did you think about the Joker in that one? What did you think about?
what Jared Leto?
Yeah, I like
It sounds weird because I wanted to hate it. I really did, and
because everybody did.
Yeah.
and I was like,
but I bought
freaking
it.
rocked it.
I bought it. So
I mean, it was
and
different,
And the
but
thing
I
that I
thought he
liked was
rocked
the metal teeth.
Yeah, I
was
loved
like,
it.
yeah, dude, he has the metal teeth.
I loved it.
And but the thing was, I think that
Wayne hates it. I mean, we argue all the time.
I think that
but
I think
like-
Jared
I
Leto
loved
did a really good job at
making his own.
yeah, making it his own and depicting the neuroses that dude lives with. That he's just this. I mean, Heath Ledger had it, but the thing was that Heath Ledger's Joker existed in a real world. That Suicide Squad and that Batman series is still very comic booky, and so you had to have that massive character. He had to be that way. Those storylines had to be done a certain way. There was ways that I wish it would have done. The whole thing with the whole Suicide Squad thing and Joker, everyone was pissed, including Jared Leto. It was they cut his scenes and da-da-da. I was like, but he's not part of Suicide Squad.
Yeah, I mean, I get the whole cutting him down, editing down. That's cool. I don't know if I guess he was pissed about it. I don't know if he was pissed about it. I have no idea. But
I wouldn't say he was pissed. He was vocal.
Yeah, I'm sure he was. It probably wouldn't have mattered if everybody didn't dog him so much about it.
Yeah, but they act like that's his decision on what he's going to look like. I mean,
Right.
Obviously you've done. I mean, we'll call it character acting. I mean,
Right.
you know what a biker is like. You know what this guy's like. This guy's like. That's his thing. He has to create a character. What they decide that character looks like is what they decide.
Yeah.
I mean, he can say, no, I'm not doing that. And they're going to say, okay, well, that's fantastic. Because,
they could have fired him.
Yeah. They're like, oh, because so-and-so
You know?
said that he'll put on the crocodile purple coat.
I think they dug it, and then they had buyer's remorse or whatever. So they probably dug his, and then it didn't test well, and then they're like, oh wow, Jared Leto sucked. It's like, no, Jared Leto's awesome.
Right, but
You can believe you. Can you? I mean, dude, he's amazing. He's one of the best actors to come around in forever. And
the
he's
method thing,
irks
me, just because the whole method thing. It's like he was method acting with the Joker, and he was sending people dead mice, that stuff. I'm like, okay, man.
Well,
Chill.
maybe he was, maybe he wasn't. Some of that's BS,
exactly.
probably.
I mean, you got to get the press.
Maybe he was. Maybe he's crazy. I mean, the whole thing, nobody gets in this business that's not broken, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm like I think I'm one of the least broken actors out there, and I'm completely crazy on my third wife. I mean, I suck. I mean, that's the only difference between me and other people is I know I suck. I just try to do well. I try to do good. I try to help.
That's all you can do. But I mean, you being having this career for so long, you understand. Social media has fucked it though so badly. I mean, just on a production standpoint, we'll use the Jared Leto and the Suicide Squad, the Joker thing.
Right.
People bitched so much about it that they're rebooting it again already. Yeah. I'm like, dude, it's been 4 years.
Yeah.
How are you gonna do that?
Yeah.
One, stop rebooting everything anyway.
Right.
Secondly, 4 years. If you want to make a reboot, I'm going to tell you the reboot I want to see. And it's something I tell all my friends about. It's one of my favorite things. And this works out great because you're wearing the shirt. They need to just go ahead, bite the bullet, and reboot Jaws. I'm going to give you the cast, though. Okay? And it's going to make millions. And you take this to the bank. So you get Tom Hanks to play the chief. Okay? You get one of the dudes from The Big Bang Theory, probably Johnny Galecki, to play Hooper, the scientist. Christopher Walken plays Quint, because he's old enough now. Just because I want to see that scene in the boat, or that scene in the room when they're trying to get someone to sell a shark. I want to hear Christopher Walken. You know who I am. You know what I do. You want the head, the tail? Oh, the whole damn thing. I want to see it. Hooper drives the boat, Chiefy. I want to see that.
Oh my god!
See, this...
No, I don't want to see it. I don't want to see them. I don't want to. They've butchered all the classics, man. Leave one like unmolested.
Yeah, because the thing that they would do that would ruin it is they would CGI the shit out of the shark. But
I mean, no, man. That's like that. That's accidental genius. You know, they were supposed to show the shark more, and they couldn't.
They couldn't,
and it made it. It created a. I mean, I don't even know. It changed horror films.
It made it so much. I mean, still to this day, my wife does not get in water like pools. She's worried. I'm like, babe, we would know a 23-foot shark's in here. I promise you. Nope, not having it. Especially if it's dark.
It's a phobia
man,
that they created.
The thing is, I mean, you can mark my words. They're gonna remake it. They're gonna ruin it.
Yeah.
I mean, what they're talking about redoing? What are they doing? A sequel or redoing Forrest Gump? Like, there's talks in that, and I was like, "Don't touch that, man."
God, that's crazy. I just saw they're rebooting Walker Texas Ranger.
Yeah,
I was like, "Oh man, come on!" I don't know. I don't. Of course, sometimes they do it, man. Sometimes they do it. Sometimes they do well with it. It's not often, but
well, I guess technically, if you
good reboots,
if you want to be fair, they technically rebooted Deadpool because Ryan Reynolds technically did play him in another movie.
Sort of. They totally changed it up. That's
yeah. But I mean, I wouldn't really call it a reboot, but it was he was that character.
Yeah.
But I don't know. What movie or what show would you reboot?
I'm trying to. I've tried for years to do Billy Jack.
Oh yeah.
Not do. I don't want to be Billy Jack. I just want to reboot it.
Yeah.
Like I want to do Billy Jack, and I don't think I can get the right. So I'm still trying. And then if not, then I'm just gonna do something. Just do kind of a Native American Longmire,
right?
Like where it's just instead of Longmire, instead of a big old cowboy, it's a half Native American, whatever,
Yeah.
Because that's really what I want to do with it anyway.
That'd be pretty sweet.
So,
so like I said, you're doing good things. Things start to happen, and you got to roll with them when they're there.
Well, yeah, I mean, Vinny would be mad at me if I didn't take that call because that's about our Lone Star Muscle show that we're doing down in Alvin. So
that one's gonna be badass. Man.
Yeah, it's gonna be cool, man. You got to come to set on that one.
Oh, please,
Dude,
let me know.
He's the godfather of Corvettes, man. I mean, we're supposed to go to Saudi Arabia. They've already shipped. We shipped the cars there already.
Oh yeah,
that are going. It's nuts. So, but anyway, back to the rebooting stuff and Marvel and all that DC back and forth and all this kind of stuff. I've always been fascinated about the difference between I'm not a comic book guy.
Yeah.
Although I've been in two of them.
Right. Yeah. You've been in two really
iconic
good ones.
Like groundbreaking.
Sin City. Well, groundbreaking. Talking about Sin City, you actually broke a wall with your face.
Yeah, wall breaking.
Wall breaking. Man.
Wall breaking. But yeah, man. And then then Deadpool. I was just wow. Like I mean, when you're in something, you want it to be good. And when that happened, I went and saw it. I was, damn, this is like the best movie. This is the best comic book movie ever.
I didn't know what to expect, and it's just like right from the get go, you're just like,
unbelievable.
What
the opening credits were like insane.
It's great, and they just, I mean, like I said, I know that comic. They nailed that. I mean, breaking the fourth wall was done great. It was directed nice. It looked great.
Unbelievable.
The casting was great.
Yeah, and then when Tim didn't come back, I was like, oh no. And then, dude, like 2 was talking about sequels. They usually suck, but I was like, wow, I don't know, man.
But that was your second movie with Josh Brolin, then.
Yeah, I wouldn't. Yeah, it sure was. Yeah, that I know of. Actually, I'd love to do a movie with Josh Brolin. There's this old movie his father did, James Brolin, called High Risk, where 4 guys went down to South America to jack this cocaine dealer. And dude, it was so good. I mean, nobody's ever seen it. It's got like Anthony Quinn and all kinds of. It's so good, man. You got to see it. But
I'm gonna have to check that one out, man.
Yeah, your movie guy just nodded. He's oh yeah, he knows it.
Yeah, we kick a lot of stuff back and forth. He knows the more obscure things, but
yeah. So yeah, man. But you really like the darkness of what about the is DC? I don't know. Is it just gotten dark lately? Because it wasn't dark before, right?
It got dark like 80s, like 86, 87. It got dark.
When? Where? What got dark?
With The Dark Knight with Frank Miller. And like that was when you saw.
Oh, okay. Oh, the comic. The comic.
Now, as far as the movies, the darkest they ever got was the Christian Bale stuff.
Really?
Was really the darkest that I got.
Who did Watchmen?
Watchmen.
Is that DC?
That's DC. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, that's DC.
Okay.
And that one was, I mean,
that's dark.
Awesome. That was great.
That was dark.
And the thing that was awesome about that one too is that they like basically followed it panel for panel. So if you sit down with like the Watchmen comic,
right,
you just turn pages.
Well, that's the way, Sin City. I auditioned off of Xerox copies of the novel, the graphic novel. Like
I have it around here somewhere.
I mean, I went. My sides were Xerox copies, so it wasn't sides like normally. Like in Final Draft, it was. I'm reading little window. What do they call those?
Panels.
Yeah.
Man,
it was awesome.
The comic book stuff it's a beast, and if they can get it right, man, they'll do it.
Yeah.
Oh God, they'll do it, man. But I mean, obviously, your stuff right now is that, Sons of Thunder and all this stuff,
absolutely.
man. And I'm super excited.
Yeah.
I'm excited for this. I was really happy to sit down with you.
Yeah, man.
And
good time. We got to do it more.
Oh man, please. Any time that you're bored, you need something to do.
We haven't got to talk music yet, man.
No.
I've got all kinds of stuff.
Oh man, music.
I'm into music. All that.
I got all my guitars lined up
dude.
over here. I got my Dimebag Darrell statues here.
Yeah, I mean, I hang out with the guys at Hell Yeah every now and then.
Oh yeah,
Chad Gray and all that. Yeah,
man.
so I've sat and watched. I've watched football games with Vinny.
Well, I'll tell you what, man. We're definitely gonna.
Crazy, so.
Man, that's badass.
No,
I never got to meet him. The closest I got was the bassist from I have a Dimebag Darrell guitar pick that I caught from him. Their Damage Plan's last show before Dimebag died.
Right.
I bought that guitar pedal online. That was owned by Rex Brown from Pantera. So and that comes with a certificate of authenticity. Right. So I got that, and then a couple weeks ago we went and saw Black Label Society, and I got Zakk Wylde's Sweat Rag.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
But
I bump into him a lot out at the Rainbow.
Oh yeah.
You need to go buy Nitro Cycles.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a dime bike.
Oh,
there.
does he?
It's like this is really cool. It's the shifter is is the guitar. It's freaking cool, man.
Well, I'll tell you what, man. We definitely got to get you back on here to talk about music
sure, man.
sometime, man. But for right now, I hate to say goodbye. But we've had a fantastic conversation.
See you later.
See you later, man.
Yeah, see you later,
Thank you so much for your time, and good luck with all the shows and everything coming up. And I hope we stay in touch. We can keep on touching back on this
Thanks
stuff,
a lot, man.
Thank you. Well, there you have it, guys. I told you that was such a fantastic interview. And he's just a sweet dude, just an awesome dude, and a genuine guy. A funny, funny son of a bitch. I look forward to having him on the podcast again, and I really hope that y'all look forward to doing it too. Please keep up with this Sons of Thunder thing. I don't think anyone's going to be disappointed. There's just so much that he has coming out and just rolling with that I'm going to keep everyone updated with and keep us all just moving right along with. Follow Randall Reader on Facebook. Pay attention to his production company, Red State Productions, and just support him just as much as y'all supported me. I appreciate y'all's time. Shit yeah, dude, man. This episode is also brought to you by our most recent update, our Patreon page, www.patreon.com/eclecticide. These episodes do cost a little bit of money, and it costs money to host them. There's no obligation in this, but however, if you do enjoy what you're listening to and you can spare a few dollars, please go to patreon.com/eclecticide and donate a little bit if you can. Here in the next coming months, we're going to be having promotions. Those promotions will range anywhere from promotional items, stickers, koozies, that sort of things. to behind-the-scenes material, things that necessarily don't always make the cut, and newsletters. So please subscribe. At the very least, go to our Facebook page, Eclecticide Podcast, and like, share, and comment, and review. Those kind of things help us out, and to keep these things going, I'm going to need y'all's help. Thank you.
This has been a Rhyme or Reason production.